Morning. So, yeah, just taking my morning walk. Had a bit of sleep last night. I think because I had a baked potato with my dinner, and I think there's this aspect where, ketone brain can sometimes lead to problematic sleep patterns a little bit. And anyway, whatever it is, it's a better sleep I had last night, that's for sure. Yeah, just I guess I was having some reflections on the way up here, just walking through the hedgerows, and I was thinking about gardening, and the benefits of gardening, how nice it is, and also how it's one of those commonalities that all sorts of people enjoy doing, and it's that mindfulness of it and the creative side of it, caring for things, creating something. And I was just thinking, back in the day when I was a student nurse, one thing that kept me sane amongst the chaos of working 2 or 3 part-time jobs and doing a nursing course which included placements in hospitals and all sorts, was keeping an allotment. And so and it cost me at the time I think 18 quid or something a year, I think it was, for the to rent the allotment. What that also was my first property investment, because to take that allotment I had to go on the waiting list, but actually these waiting lists for allotments are a lot shorter than you think, and that's because people, in the spring the things happen and the turnovers are higher than you think. People put their name down and they don't want to do it and stuff, so yeah, later down the line. So so to take this allotment that I had back in the day, I had to buy the sheds on it. So that was the rules on that allotments, was that the previous owner could say, well, I built this greenhouse out of brick and whatever else, so I've got 3 sheds on there and I want a little bit of money for it, if that's all right. So I think I paid 100 quid for that, which was like a half brick greenhouse, which was quite big, and 2 sheds I think it was on that allotment, and it was on the Law Hill in Dundee. And then I proceeded to, about a year or 2 later, sell it to somebody else for 200 quid when I gave up those allotments. But I ended up with 2 allotments up there, and it was just really nice. It was something that really, takes you out of what you're doing, get a good bit of exercise. Ended up with a bit of help from a friend and having friends there. It's a social activity to a certain extent, or it's what you make of it, allotmenting and gardening, I guess. But you can say to your mate, come up and we'll have a chill up there and a cup of tea, I'll make you a cup of tea and you can help me with the garden a bit, And so one guy, was a mate of mine, came up there and helped me terrace it, because it was on a hill. So we terraced the whole thing, and it had the most massive strawberry patch there that was already established, and I think I had about 20 plus kilos of strawberries that year or something, which was crazy. And it just sorted me out going up there, kept me sane, that, and I guess it's prophetic in the sense of then I was later on down the line, I've made this channel called Create Chill Time, and I think it is important, super important. And the cool thing with gardening is you can do it on your windowsill. You can also get an allotment, or you can do it in your own garden. And it's just, there's this aspect, if you're thinking of it with a psychological therapy minds on it, it's sometimes what I get people to do is look after a plant, even if it's a sunflower on a windowsill. And it takes people out of themselves and helps them to think about caring for something and thinking about its needs, watering it, seeing it grow. And it's very helpful for people, Some got some examples which I won't go into, but where it's just been the most unexpectedly beneficial thing was looking after a sunflower, you know, with somebody, and it's very cool actually. And yeah, so maybe try a bit of gardening, see what you think, even if it's on a windowsill, or if it's put your name down for an allotment. There's a deep satisfaction sometimes from just cleaning up on allotments and planting stuff, you know. But yeah, I've not got one at the moment, but I've had many allotments over the years. I've had, well, many. I've had 2 in Dundee, then I had one down here on the island, then I had one here where I live now. So yeah, so I've had 4 or something like that. Yeah, and they were just really good experiences. Yeah, so see about doing a bit of gardening maybe. Yeah, I'm going to be doing a bit when I get back later. I'm going to just be cutting the grass and pruning again and weeding a bit and tying up vines and all sorts of stuff. But the other factor is, you know, I can recommend going for walks, you know. I know foraging. It could be a bit weird about foraging, you know people are like, oh, you know. But as I've been going about my walks and as I go about my day, and as I did that leaflet delivery stuff, I'm looking at nature as I'm out, and I'm thinking, oh, there's some elderflower, oh, there's some cherries, and just at the side of the road, blackberries, you know, blackcurrants and stuff, and all sorts of things, plums, and you know, blackberries in the UK is just everywhere. And you know, you can go and just forage some blackberries, you know. I'm sure nobody's going to tell you off for that. There's just usually like tons of them every year. But I'm going to be later on, probably today or tomorrow morning, collecting a load of elderflower, and I'm going to probably make some wine. But this year, because I do make wine, but this year I want to make it like a super concentrated, flavorful wine, and just do a very small batch, because I've got a huge amount of wine left over still from previous years. But it's a bit of an experimental process, and I'll probably do a little video about making elderflower wine later or something like that. But what's weird here is there's all of these on the trees are like caterpillars web, and each year this tree is just covered in them. I don't know if you can see that really, but and then what happens is they hatch and then they drop down and climb down, so you can, I don't know if you can even see that. Here they are. So there's like literally hundreds of them abseiling down, and when you go through this bit, just go on your face and on your neck, there's loads of them. I'm dodging them now. Look at this. This is ridiculous. So they're all just abseiling down. There's like 20 of them, and they're all going on the floor now. And they're all hatching from this tree, look. Just loads of it there, look. There's like hundreds and hundreds of them. I'm not even quite sure what they are, but if you know what they are, put it in the comments. Alright, have a good one.